dead already. It's like regular batteries. Frustrating. So this is what he did with the fuel line, right? I'm just going to go over some of the vacuum lines that we got here. We got this big ass one here. Got the fuel line over here that's coming in from, I don't know, what's a choke stove line. Okay, we got, looks like it's an anti-salt dash pot or something. Not sure what that is. This one here, this air cleaner we're going to take out. So this line, right, comes from this position here to a manifold T. I'm going to take that out. And then you got this little guy here. Okay. You know, we're going to take that out. Get my vice grips, my regular pliers. This is coming over. This comes from here, and it goes over to this T here. And then this comes back to here. So let's go over here. Let's see, you got this line goes into this bundle. So this line here, right there, comes into this bundle. Comes up and over and down. So that's got that yellow stripage, yellow stripy thing. And that yellow stripy thing comes all, okay, so this is your vacuum advance over here. So that yellow stripy thing is vacuum advance. And you got this guy, which is something to the choke or whatever, I'm not sure. Okay, this is a white line, goes up into here, into the carb. Alright, so, and you got this over here, we'll get rid of that. We'll see what else we turn up. Alright, let's start digging in. Let's get some liquids on this and get my little, some pliers and whatever. Alright, let's get started. Alright, carb is off. There's some differences in the carb, it's fine. We'll deal with that. Now, we have a couple other things to take care of. I'm going to get a plug made up for this. If I have to take it off, fine. I'm going to clean it up anyway. So, next step is the valve cover comes off. We'll do the plug. So, this bracket here, you got a piece down there, you got a shitty over here, you got those got to come off. Alright? This will out of the way. So let's get to that.
Meanwhile.
Alright, this is we're going to go back on the old Ford. So, just to recoup, I ordered a gas, well, I had the customer order a gasket, and, you know, everything I really basically asked for just took like 5 tries. So I went and got one, and look, I have the right one. So, I'm going to put a little bit of RTV on the cover side. Notice I've already cleaned it up. And, you know, one of the things I like to do is I clean them up and I make sure that these stickers are glued down well, and then I coat them with a little bit of clear so that they stay for a while, that you have a chance to read them again, the next guy. So let's put a little bit of RTV on the back side, and everything is all clean and ready to go, and we'll let it set up for 15-20, and then we'll put it on the engine, and we'll go back outside and we'll see where I left off. I think I need to put the plugs in, a few other things. We're gonna figure out which fuel pump I want to use. I have 2, and we're gonna experiment. We're gonna play around. Let's see what we got. All right. Tell me that doesn't look a little bit better. All right. So basically everything's in. Less vacuum lines, and there's tons of them. Less carburetor, and so I'm going to go and close this up now and go in the shop and take a look at the carburetor. I'm going to start taking pictures of it and some video. We're going to tear them both down. I'm going to look at them real close and decide how I want to put the one together. Alright, so that's the next step.
A few moments later.
Okay, now I think he got the wrong carburetor again, but I think we can salvage this. It's basically the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate these around a little bit, and we're going to take them both apart. And I want to take nice pictures of everything. Okay. You can see there's, you know, quite a number of differences, but some of these things I may not need. But we want to check to see And you can see there's that, but we don't have any bowl vent here, and you kind of need that. Now, we may not need it, but because it's set up differently. So let's see what, maybe this vent here we can just utilize for here. There's this bracket here, but there's a dash pot. I'm not sure. It's like it electrically operates something. It may not even work anymore, but the rest of it looks like it's okay. So I think we're going to pop it on and see what gives. You know, I'm not seeing anything that's too... Some of this is like emission bullshit. And we may not need it. There's something over here. This is like... I don't know what this is hitting. But let's take a look. We're going to see. Alright? Let's see what happens. I'm going to pop this on and see what gives. And see if I can figure out what the vacuum line scenario is. Okay. And we're on the Ford truck. So I got the manifold out. I cut it. So managed to get this end out of the block, and this is where the exhaust is. And it's always difficult because it's rusted in. This fitting is rusted together, and they're probably going to want to reuse it. So how I'm going to handle this is, if I had all night, I would just chuck it in right now. I'd give it a quick wash to get the grease off of it. But I don't have all night. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run it over the wire wheel, and I'm going to give it a quick rinse and a degreaser, and then I'm going to put it in some old used acid I have. I'm using some full strength on this because I think I can break this apart a lot sooner. And this is part of some kind of EGR setup, but we need this manifold extender for other things. So what I'll do is I just periodically come over here while I'm working and wick a little in like that. Now, to make it go a little faster, alright, see how it goes right in. Capillary action, baby. Alright, and also here too, I don't want to forget. Almost forgot. We want to get that out as well. Now I'm either going to put a straight plug in that, or I'll weld this closed and put it back in. Depends on whether I have a plug handy. That was from the air pump, and this is part of pulling air in, I believe via the air pump. Now we don't need that to be pulling hot air like that, so most likely I'm going to use these fittings and close this up. So that's why we need to gain access to this. We need to get it out without damaging this piece. I'm going to pull the air pump out now. So we're going to bypass all of this, but I want to try to save it just in case we have any problems. Alright, we'll be back.
Eventually.
Back to this old Ford truck. This old truck. Alright, so this is part EGR, manifold, part airflow from the air pump. And as you can see, you know, it's just not working out. Thread strip, but I got it off. And I wanted to mention, here's the old carburetor. Now the new carburetor, as I showed before, it is taller, about an inch or so. So I'm not going to use this piece. Okay, I checked out the carburetor outside, and I can get it to connect. But there is a hole that we have to deal with. So let's take a look. We're going to walk outside. I brought the pipe tap out already, and we're going to be delete, sans delete, loser EGR, air pump nonsense. So it doesn't need it. It doesn't need to pass inspection. And it is an old truck. So we've already set up the pipe tap there. And this is what's going to go in the hole. So it's perfect. And there's the new carb. And I think everything is just going to work out really good. So we're going to be back in a bit And I'm going to tap that out. We're going to lay that plug in there. We're going to make sure it fits flush. Now, the carburetor itself, you can see she's going to seal right around there. So we don't need the plug to be part of the seal to the carburetor. We need the plug to be sealing off that port. Alright, and we have, even though there's, you know, taps on that adapter, this taps here, we got plenty of them. And we're not going to need as much anyway. So let's get to it, and we'll see what comes back to us in a little bit. Alright, and that's what it looks like. Okay, that's flush and clean. And I have the gaskets over here, some white grease, and I'm going to use two. And I'm going to use this one with the bushing in it to keep it from crushing too much. That's a little white grease just so it comes off and help it seal. You don't want anything really to get in the way. Now I need to come up with some appropriate studs or nuts or whatever. So let me see, because we can't use the long ones anymore. This is the correct thread. Alright. And that gasket will bring it up a little higher. Like I said, this is a little bit taller, this carb. So it'd be nice to use the fine thread again, but this isn't going to work for us. So let's go find some suitable studs or bolts or something, and I'll be back. So one of these gaskets don't work. They didn't realize it, but they're not wide enough. And this is the correct one, but it's got these holes in it, and I get what the holes are for, but not in this case. So I used another gasket, the one that came with it, and I oblonged the holes like that using one of these. Now, if you don't, most people have one of these little old hole punches. Most people do. If you don't, this is a nice thing to keep in your toolbox. If not, you can use those bigger punches that come in a set and just slam them down with a hammer. All right, so we're going to take a walk outside, and I'm going to show you what I'm up to now.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so this is the end that goes into the exhaust manifold, and so I'm going to grab this pipe plug. I'm going to use a 19mm on a 1/2-inch drive to run it in, and just so you can see it, I don't know if you can, but it's down here. That was part of that big pipe. So we're going to just hand thread that in, and now I'm going to finish running that in. Okay. If I want, maybe I'll put a little bit of lubricant on that, and we'll run it in nice. Get it in there. We'll blow it with the air. Right. Clean out all the carbon. We're going to run that in there and be done with it.
Later.
Okay. Let's see how far we got. So far, so good. I did try starting it, and the starter motor's sticking. And she's kicking back. So we need to check the wiring again, which I think there's nothing wrong with it. But we'll see tomorrow or the next day whenever I come back to this project. So we're going to clean up and put some stuff away. But we see here we've got PCV valve. That's ready to go. We'll deal with the vacuum advance later. And I'll come back to this when we have to troubleshoot what's going on. Alright, and we'll be back. I'll do an update. Welcome back to Uncle Arch's projects, and we're back to the Ford truck today for a little while. I just pulled out the coolant. It's a little nasty. I'm going to do a flush with some chemicals in there. I got everything running. Okay, I had the starter problem. I showed you I took the starter out. Clean that up. It works now. We also had a bad Ford solenoid over here, so I was troubleshooting that. I cleaned that one up, wire wheeled it, did a little acid bath and etching, and we had some stripped screws here, and this wasn't mounted well. We had some nasty, connections, so I got the connections all the way up to here. I'm going to replace this one and this one, and put the battery that he bought. This is I'm just testing with this battery. But it ran, the choke came on, and we're going to turn it on in a little while. Next time I didn't give you the cold start because it was dangerous. It was stuck in gear. There's no neutral safety. I got it into neutral, and the starter motor was getting stuck on, so it was getting a little dicey. But she runs okay, and the choke comes on and goes off, and I had to make a little adjustment to the carb. But when I come back, I'm going to put a little chemical in the radiator, close up the radiator. We'll come back, we'll run it for a little bit. I'll show you how it runs. It's got a ticky, couple little issues, but it does have fuel from the correct fuel pump, no longer this silly electric pump. I don't know why that guy put it in there. Maybe he just didn't know what he was doing. So we'll come back to this in a little bit. That's what he had for antifreeze. It's exhausted. So get rid of that, and I'm going to try to rinse out, flush out with the engine and the radiator. If I don't do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. It's getting late, and it looks like it might rain. I got to clean up the yard, but we'll be back with the old Ford in a little while, and probably tomorrow we'll do some more, and let's see what happens.
Eventually.
All right, Saturday, November, cold, and I figured I'd give you guys an update on the projects. The Nova just got a battery change. It's not a new battery, it's just one of the old ones. And I had, the little trunk is leaking a little bit, and it got wet. We had some heavy rains, so I need to cover this right. I mopped it up. It damaged the nice job I did, just a little bit. I mean, it's designed to withstand it. So we're going to start that tomorrow. We're going to move it and cover it different. And this old girl I got running again. Put the battery back in, put an oil change in it. We're flushing out the radiator fluid one more time, just to rinse. I already put the chemicals in it last time and ran it, let it soak. There's a spider right on the base of the carburetor. He's not happy. It runs pretty good considering, you know. It's got an exhaust leak. The stickiness went away. So, I think that, you know, the starter motor, that's running real good. Rebuilt that. It's in good shape. It's, you know, got some wear on it. Just did the oil change, filter. We did the plugs and everything else already. Now it'll idle down, okay, because the choke is on a little bit. So automatic choke works great. Now we have a little bit of a tick because it's more at an idle. We'll work on that. I want him to get some more stuff to put in the oil, seafoam. I won't do that again. But when I have more time, we'll do that tick. There's a little bit of schmutz coming out the back. And you can see the damage. We're going to throw this out soon. And that way I can get to the body. And I have all the parts really for it. So that's what's coming up next. I'm actually going to start work on this. I need to get it driving. I don't know if this has enough gas in it. So what I want to do now, shut it off maybe, because I think it's running out of gas. Yeah. Just going to let it warm up a little bit more. He needs to get me more gas. Because I need to get the coolant in it. Got a nice idle. Uh-oh. We can spill gas a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, she's spilling a little bit of gas. Look at it. Steaming out all over. That's bad. I don't know why that's happening. Maybe there's some crap in the gas tank. That's bad. That can cause a fire. Let's let that do its thing. That's bad because I need to run this engine one more time. I got to pull this coolant out of it. I got to get a mix in. Because we have a cold spot. That's bad news. Alright, let's see what it is. I don't know why that is, but it's coming out. I think maybe he's got bad gas. I thought I had a filter in line here, but maybe not. I need to put a filter in line in this thing. We're going to have to break it open and put a filter in. I need to run it one more time. And then we'll have to break this open and put a filter in it. So I think what could be happening is the flow could be getting stuck. Maybe a piece of shit got in there. So what we'll do is I'll pull the water out of it and get the antifreeze in. Let's get the water draining. Get the antifreeze in. I'll just start it up long enough. It's not even really warm, but it's a rinse. At least get some of it mixed because we got a cold front coming in. And then maybe tomorrow I'll split that line and we'll put a filter in it. Not really a lot of good places for a filter. Alright, so that's an update. So you see I have another little issue. It's old. So take care of that and we'll get to the next step. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back probably tomorrow. Arch's Garage out. Okay guys, end of day report. So, listen to it. I think it just got a piece of junk stuck in there. So it's okay now. I'm going to put a fuel filter in. But other than that tick, it's running pretty good. So we got the new addition stuff. Got new fuel pump in there. We did the carburetor. It's an aftermarket carburetor, tiny. Had to make a few adjustments there, tweak some things, and make something to mount it. I had to rip out some of the air pump nonsense. It's running good. It's running real good. Let's rev it a little bit. Let's see. Shut it off. No real smoke out the back. Settling in nice. Alright, let's turn it off. I think we're done. This is nice. Yeah, I'm going to tell him to get a little bit of 89 octane on this thing. And in fact, I'm going to go hit him up now. Because I think, yeah, I can smell it. She's running lean, which is good. We'll pull plugs another time. I will get to that knock. I'm also going to ask him to get another container of that seafoam. We'll see what gives from there too. Alright? I think we're good. Let's call it. End of day. Alright, that's the update guys. We'll get to it tomorrow and we'll see what else we can accomplish. Oh yeah, I smell it's lean. Oh yeah, I can smell that. That's good. That's good. I can smell it. I love the smell of these engines when they're running better. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be back. Arch's Garage, Uncle Arch's Projects, and with the old Ford.
2,000 years later.
That's what she said. Just pull on it. That's what he said. Just pull on it. You know, stop fucking around. Just pull on it. All right, so we can take our knuckle buster cutter. I'm going to cut a piece of this pipe. Well, I left it nice and long in case. This will probably be the last thing I do today. Because, at least on this thing, because it's getting late. We lose light at 4, so there you go. Now we may have to shorten this. See how it's nice and slender? Alright, it's a relaxed bend. There's no stress because when it gets hot, and it's all nice. Alright, so there's a filter in there. Alright, so we'll be back in a little bit. And we tighten that up and we'll be back. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll get ready for the next episode of the old Ford truck and at Arch's Garage, Uncle Arch's Projects. Alright, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.